the Culinary director of this group. And today we are very fortunate to have him with us to guide the students into the ways of Japanese cuisine. What we're going to get today is a sneak peek, actually, what you can see, what you can understand, and explore the different facets of Japanese cuisine. The current students, I'm telling you that. So for you, it is to grasp as much as possible. And for the students who have our guests who have joined in today, IAM has always looked forward to promote hospitality and career opportunities. And for you today, this workshop has been organized so that those students who are thinking maybe or considering a career somewhere, this could be one of the areas where we could look at. This is to guide you. What are the, I mean, you could always are into YouTube and seeing things of different cuisines. But today it is a live demo for you, and you can take part in the workshop today. And it will be a hands-on experience which you can add to your experience. And that can go a long way in helping you to take a decision for your future. So that's the reason why we have asked you to be a part of today's workshop, and I hope this entire thing is going to be a huge learning experience for all of us. Thank you very much, and over to you, Shan.
Thank you, and I'm really delighted to be amongst you today, and of course with the students of IAM forever, and of course our guest students today from this culinary school. It's a pleasure having you all here. And what Maitri ma'am just told you that today, knowing a cuisine is actually a job of a lifetime. You cannot know a cuisine in 2 days, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, impossible. Because just to kind of initiate you into how a cuisine is learned, uh, let us first take 1 minute of time to equate the cuisine that we are learning today with Indian. Now when we say Indian cuisine, can I ask one answer from here and one answer from here? From here, what do you mean by Indian cuisine? Anyone? You don't have to worry, even if it is it's not an appropriate answer. It's fine. I will correct. What do you mean by Indian cuisine? According to you, what is Indian? Yeah, yes, say. It's okay. Can somebody give her a mic? Or give a mic if possible. Anyone? There is no right and wrong answer. There is no right and wrong. Yeah. Very good. Excellent. Very nice. Good answer. All right. I would like to have one answer for it. Okay, it's not necessary that you have to give a technical definition. What is Indian cuisine according to you? Because you are the Maggie generation. So tell me what is Indian cuisine according to you? Anyone? Anyone among you? Yeah. Great.
Representation of our culture.
Sorry?
It's a
representation of your culture. Excellent. Great. So, I'm happy that the answer that I'm about to give you, you have already prompted me on both the points. When I say that Indian cuisine is an amalgamation of the cuisines of the nook and corner of Indian subcontinent, you know. And one more important thing which you millennials don't understand is when Indian cuisine was developing over the last 6,000 years, we did not have borders like we have today. Right? You have to understand that. Indian cuisine does not mean the Indian cuisine of 2024, India of 2024. It is the India before 1947, the way it existed. And Even before that, India of the last 4,000 years, that is where this cuisine has developed. There was a time, I don't want to get into history and bore you. I'm sure all of you are already bored with history. But we are talking about a time and a space where the borders of India existed from what we call the northwestern frontier province today, or maybe the Iranian border, all the way to Indonesia, right? And sometimes a combination of what we call North India and South India. We went our influence is all the way up to what we call countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, Laos, South China Sea. So this is basically the basic idea, a little bit of an understanding for you. What do you mean by cuisine? So when you are talking about Indian cuisine, we are not talking about cuisine of 1947 and beyond. Okay, before I go back to Japanese cuisine, let me ask one more question. First here and then. Tell me, which according to you are the two most popular Indian dishes internationally? First, the answer has to come from here. I know you have all of you have answered. Yes, you can say. Yes.
Butter chicken.
Very good. And yeah.
Accompanied with butter naan, so butter chicken and butter naan.
Okay, very good. So, now we will go to hotel management. Okay. Tell me, what do you think, according to you, is the most popular Indian dish internationally? Okay, one answer, biryani. Okay, kebab. Biryani is not Indian, kebab is not Indian. Okay, I give you one more choice. Rajma chawal. Okay, okay, great. Many answers, to a large extent, all are right here. But let me give you a shocker, especially to this group of students. You said butter chicken, you said naan. Okay. Naan is a bread which is made in whole of Southeast Asia. It has got its base in what we call Gulf today, or the what we call long time back used to be called the Fertile Crescent, the North African region where the Gulf countries today are connected, right? So naan is primarily not Indian, but okay, I take it. It is most popular in the world as an Indian bread. And you said butter chicken. Now tell me, how old do you think butter chicken is? How old do you think it is? I told you Indian cuisine history is 6,000 years old. How old is butter chicken? Yes, yes. How old? How old? Another? He said 1970. Given number. Yeah. Gupta period. Mughal period. Oh, sorry. Okay, let me cut it short. I don't want to get too much into this discussion. Butter chicken was developed only after 1947 in Connaught Place in Delhi. After 1947, by a small restaurant where they used to make tandoori chicken, and they had leftover tandoori chicken which they used next day with a tomato and onion gravy. It is just not even 100 years old, and it has already become the national dish of England, right? But what I'm here to tell you is, let's forget about the Indian cuisine for time being. You all know it. But I was just trying to tell you, young people, that whenever you are learning about a cuisine, there are four things that are very important. Number one, your location in the world. Where are you? Which cuisine are you talking about? Number two, history. Number three, geography. Before history, geography. Geography, history, and cultural changes that have occurred in that region at least over the last 1000 years. Tell me one vegetable without which Indian food is impossible to cook. Choose between potato and onion. How many people for onion? Wait. Choose another vegetable. चल जाता है ना जैन लोग भी है यहीं पे दो तीन जैन होगा जैन लोग भी है जो नो अनियन नो गार्लिक खाता है You did not talk about tomato. Tomato is not Indian. It's only in India for the last 700. Potato is in India only for 900 years, 1000. Right? So that's it. Okay, let's get back to Japanese. Why did I tell you this? Because I wanted to open up your mind. Japanese cuisine is Japan is a very relatively small country. Okay? It is a country of a lot of hardships. It is a country which does not have a very big geographic presence. I'm sure all of you study geography, you know about these countries. It does not have a very large geographic presence. So it does not have too much of flora and fauna also. There are not too many animals roaming around. There are not too many vegetation. There is not too much of vegetation. But whatever vegetation is there, it is basically based on volcanic soil. Okay, very robust soil. It grows very fast, but at the same time, it does not have the kind of variety that we have in India. So you will see that a cuisine like Japanese cuisine depends on two important things: basic ingredients and balance. Okay? There are not many cuisines in the world which have remained completely devoid of external influence. One of those cuisines is Japanese cuisine. If you go to Japan and if you eat there, the cuisine is extremely simple. It is based on a few basic ingredients and flavors. Similarly, there are other cuisines like that. There is a cuisine which is, if you all know, Thai cuisine, which has very restricted ingredients. The variety of vegetables, the variety of meats is very high, but the flavor profiles are very restricted. Okay? Strong flavors, but at the same time very restricted. But in India, because we have always grown spices, we have always used robust spices in our food. And our food is generally based on a mixture of these spices. Okay, there are some dishes there are only 3 spices. There are some dishes where there are 40 spices, and the chefs are fighting among each other. Somebody says, "मेरे गरम मसाले में 40 spice है." Somebody says, "मेरे गरम मसाले में 50 spice." Right? And if you are mixing 50 spices together, do you think you will be able to taste or smell one spice among that? No. So it's primarily a massive confusion. But what actually it talks about is the balance. How do you balance all these spices? Right. Similarly, today, because we are doing Japanese cuisine, let me tell you a little bit about the basics. Japanese cuisine is about a very important thing, that is balance. Now, what is balance? Balance is balance between salt and sugar, balance between spicy and bland, balance between what do we call umami? You know what is umami? Umami is a flavor, is a taste, like sweet, salted, bitter. Okay, there is a flavor called umami, which is called the sixth flavor. Sometimes fifth, sometimes sixth. If you consider bitter as a taste, then this is the sixth taste. Okay, so how do we get umami? As I told you, Japan is a country which is covered by sea on all sides. Like we are sitting in Kolkata, And if you ask anybody in the world, what do Bengalis like to eat? It's a no-brainer. Fish. Because we have it available around us. What do we eat? Rice. Because it is available around us. Similarly, Japanese depend a lot on the sea for their food. And because they depend a lot on the sea, they also have found out some ingredients from the sea which they can use as spices and flavors. Right? So I will introduce you to a few flavors before I start getting into it. How many of you know what is nori? Nori. Seaweed. What kind of a seaweed is nori? Okay, can anybody guess what is this? What is this? Yes. Yes. This is again a sea vegetable. It's a sea leaf. It's called kombu. Okay. I told you these are primarily the flavors of Japan. Kombu leaf, then various types of mushrooms, then can anybody guess what is in this? What are these? Anybody guess what food it be? It looks like sawdust, right? It looks like sawdust. What is it? What is it? Anybody would like to come and smell it? Yes, come. These are fish flakes. These are called bonito flakes. Bonito. Okay. Similarly, Japan also has its own variety of vinegars. Like for example, we have a wine, a Japanese rice wine called sake. Now this is also drunk, but this version of the rice wine is for cooking. Okay, this is another very important ingredient which gives acidity to Japanese food. Then we have another very important ingredient which is called mirin. 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 This is another flavor component of Japanese food. All these are very, very important ingredients. Then we have another type of vinegar. This vinegar, this is called mizikan. This is generally eaten raw. You don't use this in cooking. Okay, very few people use this in cooking. Then, like Chinese food, Japanese food also has its own variety of soya sauces. I'm sure you know how is the soya sauce made? By fermenting the soy. You take the soybeans and you wash them, you open them, you wash them, you ferment them, and then you convert them into a sauce. After a very long time, when it matures, you just put some water, vinegar into it, and it becomes a sauce. Right? So this is a special Japanese soy sauce, which is a light soy sauce. It's not as dark as the Chinese one. Light soy sauce, but with a lot of flavor. Right? And then one miracle ingredient of Japanese cuisine, wasabi. Have you heard about it? All of you have heard about it? What does it taste like? It tastes terrible. For those people who are used to Japanese food, this is pure gold. Okay? This is almost used in Japanese food as gold. Right? Very little quantity because this is very, very bitter. It is also very pungent. Right? So you use this. The pungency is 5-6 times the raw mustard oil. You know how pungent is raw mustard oil? Yes. Similarly, if you compare this to mustard oil, this is 5 times more pungent. Okay, so use it whenever you eat it. It has to be used in moderation. All right. So let us start with our work. Where did the pan go? Saucepan, soup pan.
Okay, we are going to start today. What I am going to cook for you today and show it to you is basically utilization of all these ingredients in making some wonderful Japanese dishes. Very simple, very basic, but at the same time which exhibit the importance of flavors in Japanese cuisine, and which will also give you a little bit idea about what Japanese cuisine originally looks like. Okay, so first thing that we are going to do is we are going to make a stock, a basic stock. What is a stock? A stock is primarily a water, flavored water. And how do you flavor stock? You flavor stock with different ingredients. Okay, what are those ingredients that we are going to use today? I told you there are lots of Japanese ingredients which are used for flavoring. The first thing that we are going to put into this soup, into this stock, is, what did I tell you? This is onfu leaves. Okay, of this much is enough, or at least 2 to 3 liters, right? Some more water. Then I am taking mushrooms. Mushrooms are one of those ingredients which give you umami flavor. Okay, so what I do, just cut the mushrooms. I washed the mushrooms already. I'll cut the mushrooms into 4. And it goes in. Then just to add a little bit of freshness, earthiness, I'm going to add what we call, this is a vegetable, a long vegetable, looks like a spring onion. This is called a leek, Leek. I'm going to add some leek. Okay, many Japanese don't add leeks. The people who like pure Japanese flavors don't add leeks into the soup. Okay, and then of course we will add the fish flakes. Okay, so this is bonito. Very little, you don't need too much of bonito because otherwise the stock will get very robust. This is enough. So one of the most important jobs that we have set out to do today is done. Our stock is getting ready now. We will all be tasting the soup that we are going to make today. This soup that we are going to make today is called shiro miso. Shiro miso. Miso, what is miso? Miso is a paste. Okay? It is a paste, it is a proprietary paste made with a combination of different ingredients found in and around Japan. So we have this is miso paste. It's almost like a curry paste which the Japanese use. It is like our, let's say, for example, if you are using oyster sauce or using tomato ketchup. Now, when you look at tomato ketchup, you see it is got tomatoes, cornstarch, and many other ingredients, but you don't know actually how much. Right? It is a proprietary sauce. Similarly, a miso paste is also a proprietary sauce. So we will put miso a little later. In the meantime, I will cover because we need to cook it fast. Okay, we need to cook it fast. Let it cook for some time. And in the meantime, now what I am going to do is, I am also going to show you one more thing. That is the rice. How many of you know what is sushi? Yes, what is sushi? Nobody is wrong. You say whatever you know. I'm correct. What is sushi?
Food, we live and rice, almond, and some sort of vegetable like this.
Very good. Excellent. Okay. Sushi is primarily Japanese rice wrapped in a nori sheet. Nori is the seaweed. And then you can have anything under the sun stuffed inside. Anything. It is generally fish. It is generally a few vegetables. It is generally most of the ingredients that can be rolled and eaten raw. Or even if you can't eat raw fish. There are many people. I'm going to make one sushi today, which is going to have prawns. Which is going to have cooked prawns. Does not matter. But of course, there is another cousin of the sushi, which is called sashimi. Sashimi, which is always raw fish. Right? But how can you have raw fish? But there is a trick behind it. What is the trick? The trick behind it is that the fish that is eaten as a sashimi is a sashimi grade fish. You get it from the sea and you eat it within 15-16 hours of getting from the sea. That is sashimi grade salmon, sashimi grade tuna, sashimi grade tilapia. Okay, any fish which is eaten as a sashimi cannot be more than 15-16 hours old. Okay, then if you want to then convert it into sushi, you would rather use that same fish which is just been caught, or you convert it into something like a pickle, or you add some more ingredients, and then you put it inside the Japanese rice and you call it a sushi. Okay, so now what are the main components of sushi? I showed you the nori. Okay, nori will open only at the last moment because Calcutta is not a great place to use these ingredients because we have a lot of humidity. And as soon as you open nori, within 24 hours you will see fungus growing on it. So you open it at the last moment. Then you have to have what we call the sushi rice. This is premium sushi short grain rice. Okay, so what you do is whenever you have to make a sushi, this is the most important part of making a sushi. I'm sure all of you are Instagram and YouTube babies. You look at videos and when the chefs show you how to roll a sushi, you really get smitten by that. But that is not the most important part of doing a sushi. A sushi can be just a dollop of rice and a little bit of fish on top, and you can eat it. That's also sushi. But what is most important is how you cook the rice. Okay, so what I've done is I have taken this rice around half an hour back. Many of you were sitting here, and what we did is we washed it 4 times. Every time we washed it, we massaged it with our hand. And after massaging it, now it has been soaking for almost half an hour. I'm going to keep it for another 15-20 minutes. And then we have a rice cooker here, like we have at home. Okay, this is nothing different, similar rice cooker. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cook this rice in the rice cooker. Now, 2 important things. One, how much water? Now I have already soaked it. It's absorbed some water already. And now after I cook this rice, I have to add some vinegar into it for flavoring or for making it into sushi rice. So if I put too much of water now and I put vinegar later on, what will happen? It will become mushy. I don't want the rice to become mushy. I don't want to have too much of water. So I will only put 1:1 water now at this time. For 1 cup, 1 cup. So what I did is I measured my rice by this glass. I will be putting 2.5 cups of rice. I will be putting 2.5 cups of water and cooking it in the rice cooker. Okay. So we keep it down. Alright, so while the soup is getting cooked, we have a few more ingredients which we are going to look into.
Can all of you hear me without the mic? Can you hear me without the mic? Yes, yes, you can hear me because I think it's bothering me. Okay, so we are going to the next important ingredient. It is the vegetarian's gold again in Japan. Okay, a vegetarian. There are a lot of vegetarians in Japan. Huh? I'm sure many of you think there are no vegetarians because Japan is predominantly a Buddhist nation. Okay, it has got a lot of vegetarians, and since it has got a lot of vegetarians, there are two, three exceptions. For a general Japanese, a stock like this, which has got fish flakes, is not unheard of. These flavors are not considered non-vegetarian, but the ingredient that they are chewing into, that they are eating into, has to be vegetarian. So this is, I'm sure all of you know tofu. What is tofu? It is a bean curd. It's made from soybean, right? It is like a paneer made from soybean milk. Okay, but there are different varieties of tofu. This is what we call a silken tofu. You get tofu from Tangra in Calcutta. Okay, people make it there in Calcutta. They make it from soybean. They grind it, but that is very hard tofu because India is used to paneer. Okay, we like eating paneer, and that we equate the tofu to the paneer, so it's hard. But this is really silken, very fine. Uh, I'll open it up for you and show it to you. I'm sure many of you have seen it already. So it's very soft, and although it says firm tofu, but it's quite soft to cook. So what we'll do is we'll let it drain. Okay, once the stock is ready and we have clarified the stock, we will cut the tofu into small pieces and we will put it in. Okay, right. So in the meantime, it remains at the bottom. Another component is done. Then what I have done is some time back, a few of you were here, a few of you were not here. What I have done is I have taken some spinach, right? So what I did with the spinach is I removed the stalks, I washed it a couple of times, and then I blanched it. Okay, so this is again a component for the soup. Now, uh, if you are in Japan, you may not be using the Indian style of spinach. You can use any other type of a green vegetable, and some people just avoid the green vegetable. They will just put in the tofu. If you are eating vegetarian, then they will just put in the tofu. They will put the spring onions. Many people in the shiro miso also put seafood. Many people also put chicken into the shiro miso. But today we are doing completely vegetarian shiro miso. Vegetarian means the components are vegetarian, but of course the stock has fish flakes. As soon as I remove the lid, most of you will now start understanding what it will taste like. Okay, there is one more important thing about this, that is the salt. Now, because we are putting bonito flakes here, we have also put the konbu. So, because it is seaweed, it is already a little salty. So you have to be very careful when you are seasoning these soups because they already have a little bit of salt, and if you don't check the seasoning before adding salt, it could get too salt. Okay? It's almost like Chinese food. When you put soy sauce into Chinese food, you have to be very careful about the salt, right? Just a couple of more minutes, and in the meantime, we will prepare our spinach. I will remove the larger stalks because they don't look too good in the soup. Let it settle down a little bit now. I've switched it off. We don't need to cut the spinach too much. We just want it to be in at least half leaves. So what I do is just give a little bit of a cut in the center. All right, we go back. A question for this side of the students. What do you call a secondary stock? What do you call it? Remula. What is it? What does it mean?
Using of the old bones which we are made from the stock.
Only the bones?
Bogagani and meat was.
So whenever you have ingredients from where you have used, you have already made a stock, and you have those ingredients like I'm taking this out now. If I put it into another pan and put more water and make a lighter stock from it, we call it remula or the second stock. Okay, now I'll put in a strainer, take out the rest. You have to understand these are very strong ingredients. You can't keep them in the stock for a very long time. So you just take them out and progress with the stock. Make sure that while I'm talking, you can ask questions in case you have any, and I will try and answer them. Okay, so we have a stock ready now. What I'm going to do is I'll transfer it into another pan through the strainer so that I don't have any sediment now. Okay, now to the other part of our soup. So we already have the stock, we have the spinach, we have the tofu. What we'll do with the tofu is your choice. Whatever you want to do with the tofu. If you want to cut it into smaller dices, if you want to cut it into a kind of rectangular piece, it all depends on you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it into rectangles because those are easy to handle. and let us switch this on. Did I miss anything? No. We go to the light soy sauce now. This soy sauce also has a kind of umami flavor. After I add in the soy sauce, I'll be checking the seasoning now, and then only this soy sauce is a little sweet also. It's a little sour also, like any soy sauce, and it also has that umami kind of a flavor. This is how difficult it is to handle this tofu. I'm just waiting for this to simmer, and then we will add in these ingredients. And primarily, our soup is ready. This is how easy it is. But of course, the most important thing here is the balance and of course the choice of ingredients. Once I finish with the soup, I will start with the sushi rice. One more important thing that you need to understand is Japanese cuisine, along with being a very primitive cuisine and a cuisine which is very untouched by outside world, it's also one of the most sustainable cuisines in the world. You know what is sustainability? How many of you know what is sustainability? How many of you know what is sustainability? अब पकड़ में आ गए तुम. Okay, when you were very small kids and you were learning, and mummy used to say when you go to brush your teeth, you should not keep the tap open. What was that for? Not because she will get too much of water bill. Why did she say that? One by one. Okay, I'm adding in a pinch of sugar for the balance here. Spinach. And keep a little bit outside for the garnish later on. I will add the white of the spring onion. And I will add in the tofu. Okay, anyone from this side or from this side who would come and cut a little bit more of tofu for me? Anybody? Anyone? Yeah, what you have to do is you will pick up this chocolate from here and put it on the chocolate board and hold it like that. Be ready for clapping for us. Cut it like that, then you pick it up, it will break. And now cut it like this. Yeah. Now cut it like this. Just like only say. Ah. Please, yeah. Okay, now you know the tofu is very tender, so we have to be very careful. Give it almost a child's stir, very little stir. Thank you. Thank you very much. Once more. All right, it's time for me to start with the sushi rice while the soup is cooking. I need to have the right measure of the rice. Fresh water. Fresh water. All right, you don't need to put any salt in this rice. You don't need to put anything into this rice. Some people put a konbu leaf. If you want for a better flavor, I'll put a konbu leaf. All right, the last ingredient that goes into the soup is the miso paste. Anyone in this group who is vegetarian? In this group? What kind of vegetarian are you? Right now, no onion, no garlic type. You know, I tell you a joke. You are ready for a joke? Yes. All right. Yesterday, one student met me. Yesterday, a student met me after he graduated in 2013, and now he is a senior vice president in a very wonderful organization. And he came yesterday, and on the first day of his practical, I had to speak to his father on the phone because he was strict vegetarian. And his father called me. I was incidentally taking his first practical class, and like a very concerned parent, he asked me, "Sir, कैसे करेगा मेरा बच्चा vegetarian? How will he do?" And I said, "Don't worry, we don't force anybody. Whatever he wishes, he'll do." And when I met him yesterday, after a little discussion and a coffee, I asked him, "Tell me one thing, are you still vegetarian?" So he smiled back, "Sir, कैसे हो सकता?" So he is no more a vegetarian. But then it's not the case with everyone. Alright, so 2 minutes more and our soup will be ready. Let it just boil. You just need to boil it once. Okay, now I am going to go completely into the basics of the sushi. First, let me tell you what all we are doing. We are doing 3 sushis. Every shape of a sushi has a different name, right? The first sushi that I am going to show you is called kappamaki. Kappamaki is a sushi which is also called California roll. You know, आदत है यूरोप को अमेरिका को सब नकल करने का, तो उन्होंने नकल करके उसको अपना नाम दे दिया. They called it California roll. Okay, and otherwise the original name is kappamaki. The second one that we are going to cook is uramaki. Okay, if you have to find the difference, you have to remember the difference. सीधा और उल्टा. सीधा मतलब kappamaki, ulta matlab uramaki. Okay, so uramaki has got rice on the outside, and the nori is on the inside. In the uramaki, the nori is on the inside, the rice is on the outside. In the kappamaki, the nori is on the outside, the rice is on the inside. Okay, and the third one, which is the most simplest sushi that you can make, is called nigiri. Okay, so I'm going to prepare today. I'm going to prepare the kappamaki. From kappamaki, I'm going to do the cream cheese, asparagus, and cucumber. And the uramaki, I'm going to do with the tuna fish. We have tuna fish for the uramaki. And for the nigiri, we are going to do the prawns. You saw me cleaning the prawns in the beginning. So we're going to do the prawns for uramaki. I already started. Okay, can I ask one student from here and one student from here to come? Any two students. Other. Give them a cap. Can we have one girl student? Anyone? Keep on rotating. One, take. Okay, now our soup is ready. Let's construct the soup. Let's construct the soup into the plate. It's very important to understand how much to put into a plate or a bowl. The portion, especially for all of you chef, aspiring chefs, portion control is very important. It's not only about money; it's also about how much a person should eat nutritionally. Okay? So first, let's put in the stock. And all the ingredients now. In case you thought that you could have put some more ingredients into the soup, you could have. And all those have to go into the plate because the guest needs to know what all was there inside the soup. And can you all see? Oh, yes, you can see. So this is what we call shiro miso. Shiro miso soup, and we can and put this into those cups. Sir is going to give us cups. Please take one piece of the tofu, the piece of soup, and put it into those cups. I'll give you some garnish in the meantime. you how to build the fluff. You will take one of this. One leaf. And then two of you can do this. Fill up some more. But then if you do not allergic to tofu, then please don't have the soup, or you can just have the soup without the tofu. Okay, this is for all of you to taste. You can come here and get your spoon and taste. Alright, you can sit for the time, two of you can stay back, the two of you can sit. Let's do something interesting now. Okay, soup is ready. We will go to our sushi. I explained to you what all we are going to do. So first thing that we are going to do is we are going to prepare the prawns for the nigiri. Okay, for that I need some help. You will do it. Okay? So what you need to do is you need to take this, get a bowl from there. You need to pull the legs like this. Okay. Then there is a sting. You need to remove this sting. Okay. And then you will peel the prawn. With a very tender hand, you have to take the prawn on a plate. You will leave one segment of the shell on top of the pot, and you will keep the prawn. You can also come.
Video to
Did you taste the soup? You all taste the soup? I told you to come and taste. Please get your own spoons.
Back by back, please. Please back by back. Don't come all together. Fast press, then like that.
video actually.
How that was we are cutting it for a specific purpose. That is why we are cutting it like that. So we have to make a nikiri. So nikiri can be made only with this cut. Yeah. We make the nikiri or rice is also nikiri. So you can change the topic for now. We just change the topic for now. All right. So you tasted the soup now. Okay. Are you ready for the sushi? Yes. Okay. So let's begin. Our rice is done. Okay. So I'll show you the rice, but it's getting cooled. Let it cool down a little bit. Then we'll take it out. See, you can see the rice. It's nice and soft and white. It's got very less starch now. There is no starch on the outside. Okay, so let's cool down a little bit. In the meantime, what we're going to do is we're going to do some cutting and chopping for the sushi. You saw I just cut the prawn. I peeled the prawns and I cut it on the side. I flattened it and now it is getting washed a little bit because you have the vein inside which needs to be washed. And then we will marinate the prawn. So our prawn is ready for the sushi. The next thing that we are going to do is, if you saw right in the beginning, I boiled some asparagus. Yeah, it's a vegetable. It's a very nice vegetable which is primarily from the family of beans. Okay, and what I did is I peeled it and cut it, peeled it, and blanched it. What is blanching? Blanching is quickly boiling something in water, removing it, and then putting it into cold water. That is called shocking. Okay, so I have blanched and shocked the asparagus. We have cream cheese. Okay, so this is called Philadelphia cream cheese. It is a special type of a cream cheese which is generally made from cow's milk, and we are going to use this Philadelphia cream cheese for our sushi. One of the sushis. There we are going to do the asparagus and cucumber. So we'll get all the ingredients ready first. Then we'll have to marinate the rice, and after that we will. So this is Philadelphia cream cheese. Philadelphia cream cheese is done. Now cucumber. So with the cucumber, what we are going to do is, because we have to put it into a sushi, we are going to remember all these vegetables have been very well washed, okay, and dried. They are ready for consumption. Okay, now you know Indian cucumbers have a lot of seeds. You can't put these seeds into a sushi. So what you do is you carve out the seeds like this. You can still eat it. Okay. And then we will cut it into strips almost as long as the asparagus. Another all done. The next that we're going to do is we're going to open up this tuna. This is a sushi sashimi grade tuna. So this tuna can be eaten raw. The sashimi grade tuna fish. Okay, it can be eaten raw. And I would also like to introduce you to a very rarely used spice, but it is probably the only spice mix that the Japanese use. It's called togarashi. It is pronounced as Togarashi, togarashi. It's a combination of some herbs and spices, and of course it is visible that it's got some kind of a lentil inside, some kind of a dal or some seed which is very coarse. So, and of course sesame seeds. So this is called togarashi powder. We'll be using togarashi along with the tuna to make one of the sushi. But now what we are going to do is we are going to take out the rice. Okay? And just a first the bamboo leaf goes out. So we have to kind of cool this rice, and it has to cool quite well, because what we are cooking with it later on, making it, it has to be made with cold rice, room temperature, not very cold also, not from a refrigerator. And we have to marinate this rice. This has to be flavored, marinated before we use it. Okay, let it cool down. In the meantime, what we are going to do is we are going to marinate this fish, which we are going to later on cook in a teriyaki sauce. What you do is you take a lemon, roll, okay, if a true Japanese was cooking this dish, he would just put some salt and pepper. That's it. Okay, but Indians, because of this kind of fish, for some people it can smell a little bit. So lemon is an important factor that we use here. Some salt. You can also use some vinegar if you want. Get rid of the seeds. And this process, as you all know, is called marination. We are marinating the fish with lemon juice, and you can also use oil. Some people use oil, but will not be using oil. I'll tell you later on why. As I told you in the beginning, the Japanese food is very low on oil. They don't use too much of oil, because what happens is the flavors are so simple and basic that if they use oil, all the flavors will finally be absorbed by the oil, and since they don't heat oil, they will be left over with no flavor. Alright, so first before we start, we will make the marination for the sushi rice. So what sushi rice, there is a proportion. Those of you who are writing, you can write 250 ml rice vinegar, 250 ml of rice vinegar, sugar 100 grams, and salt. You know what is this marination called? It's called sushi zoo. Sushi zoo. Just a little bit of salt, not too much of salt, depending on how much rice we are making. This is this is the heart of the sushi. If this rice remains bland, you will not be able to taste anything on the sushi. So this is very, very important. But you don't have to cook it. You just kind of mix it, because if you cook, the effect of the vinegar will reduce and you will not get a good taste. Okay, so we have the prawns now here, whom we had kind of peeled and washed. So what we need to do now is we need to do a little bit of a marination here, so that they don't remain bland. So I'm just trying to make sure that they retain the shape. A little bit of rice vinegar. Very little soy. And some salt. You can also, if you wish, you can add some lemon. Just smell. for all of you, it's very, very important to have a sharp knife whenever you are doing any work for sushi. And when you are cutting a sushi, you need to have a longer knife. You need to cut the sushi only in one go. You can't do like this. Okay. So we'll be doing two types of tuna for this. I'll show you later. And since our mixture is ready, I'm going to now marinate the rice. Anyway, sorry. All right. So this marination, I check how much I need because this should not become wet, so the rice should not become too wet. I think that should be enough. And with a very light hand, you have to make sure that it mixes well. Make sure that you are doing it with a very, very light hand. Otherwise, the rice will get mushy and you won't have that texture. Okay, it needs to cool down a little bit. So I'll just spread it out once again and wait for it to cool down. In the meantime, we will finish the rest of our work. Okay, while we are doing we're waiting for the rice to cool down. I'm going to do some preparation for our main course, which is the fish. So what do we do? Take the cucumber. This is a very, very classic Japanese style salad. It is also a salad and it is an accompaniment for the main dish also. So what you do is you generally either cut the cucumber into two or you can do it whole cucumber sliced. Anybody knows what is this salad called? It's like a pickle in Japanese cuisine. It's called sunomono. Sunomono. I'm sure many of you aspire after watching YouTube to cut vegetables like this. How many of you aspire to cut vegetables like this? How much time does it take to learn? Alright, so in this, we just add salt now, nothing else. Just a little bit of salt and We will also make a dressing for it later on. Keep it aside. Take another bowl. Rice vinegar. Sugar, salt, a little bit of soy sauce. I'm sure you've observed by now that most of these items are not being cooked. They are being consumed raw. This is a very common feature between Italian cooking and Japanese cooking. A lot of the food is eaten raw. One more important ingredient, roasted sesame seeds, till. Roast kiya hua till seeds. Later on, we'll put in some spring onion into this. So this is done, we'll keep it on the side. Okay, let's go to our tuna now. As I told you, we'll be doing two types of tuna. One tuna is you just take the tuna like this and you put it into the sushi. We put one we'll put like this, and another set, what we will do is, we will take the tuna and cut it into dices. And we will mix this tuna with togarashi powder. If you wish, you can also put in some lemon here, but I am not putting because we are making authentic sushi, so I am not putting any lemon. Okay, let us get into the first of our sushis, that is the nigiri. Alright, one very important thing that you have to understand is, generally sushis are made with bare hands. Okay, you can't use a glove, because what happens is the rice is so sticky that if you use a glove, it's going to stick to the rice is going to stick to the glove. So what I do is, give me a bowl of water. So what you normally do is you take a little bit of vinegar and you take equal quantities of vinegar and water. Okay, and you put that into the what I have done is I have taken approximately 100 ml water and I take vinegar. Similar, because I am making a lot of it, so. And this is what you are going to apply to your hands. There is one more ingredient before I go there. Let me introduce you to this ingredient. I don't know if many of you must have seen it. This is ginger. It is very thinly sliced ginger. What is it called? It is pickled ginger. It is a very common accompaniment with sushi. we are going to use it and eat it along with the sushi. So what we are going to do is first, because we don't need nori in a nigiri. So first you will wet your hands and you will take very little rice. Okay, now there are two things that you can do. If you are a regular Japanese cuisine eater, what you have to do is you have to take out oh, sorry. So what you do is you take just, you know, less than 1 gram of wasabi, less than 1 gram. Okay, so what you do is and you make a rice mold like this, and then you take your prawns and you put your prawn across like this. Okay. Now there is one very important question, especially for all of you. The prawn that we have has got a tail on it, right? So I will not keep the tail along with the rice. So when a guest is picking up the sushi and is eating, he should be able to finish the sushi, the prawn, and take out the tail, right? So similarly, remember all sushis are 1 bite or 2 bite dishes. You can't have more than 1 bite. Yeah, that's bigger. That's temaki is almost like a roll. Like we eat a roll. So what you do is you put it into the middle of your fingers, or you put it here, and then wrap around your fingers like this. Let me put it here in the meantime.
Anyone else wants to join here?
Anybody wants to come and help me in making the nigiri? Yeah. Come in. Let me give you one more platter. We'll make more. Rectangle wala whatever form we have, we make. Let me do one. Otherwise, it stick to your hand. And keep back. Give a hand back. Three fingers only. Yes. Now, no, wait. Not too much. Don't press it too much. Excellent. Great. Okay. So what we'll do is now we'll finish one by one. Right. Wasabi. Just this one. Wasabi. This one. I have one more job. Dry your hands. Take the duster and dry your hands. You can go outside. So what we're going to do is we're going to give a little bit of an artistic touch to the nigiri. Yeah. What is this? Nori sheet. Nori sheet. So what we're going to do is, just for the sake of the nigiri, I'm going to cut the nori into strips. Alright, come here. Do is you again wet your hand a little bit. Wet your hand a little bit. this up. I'll give you the nori. You will take the nori like this and wrap it around. Just take the water. Take very little water, otherwise the nori will stick to your hand. Complete that now first. Even the nori is salty. It comes from the sea, so it is salty. I do the rest. Thank you very much. Can we have a big round of applause? You can make these prawns and make two, you have two prawns left, make them. So now, all right, so our nigiri is now ready. We're going to just garnish it. We have made some garnishes early in the day today. So some garnish here. And you can see this is the all right. Get ready for the next. The next one is a maki, as I said, a kappa maki. Yeah. All right, now we take out what we call a sushi mat. Okay, when I was your age, we did not use cling film on the sushi mat, but now world has changed because there is a lot of consideration of hygiene, sanitation, etc. So this is a sushi mat. I'm going to start by taking a nori sheet. I would like to have a couple of students from there to come and assist me. Okay, especially the students on this side, please have a look at this. Sushi has got two sides. There is a bland side and there is a shiny side. The shiny side goes on the outside. Okay, and the bland side goes on the inside. Okay, and let's mash the cream cheese. In the cream cheese, I am adding a little bit of kogarashi. Again, the same process. We will take some rice, some water. A very thin layer of rice. You don't have to press it too much. It should not become like a slab of rice. Just a little bit of pressing. And leave some space on the top. Leave some space at the bottom. I'll make the first one. You'll make the second one. This is Philadelphia cream cheese with kogarashi. Asparagus. And cucumber. Okay, now comes the most exciting part of rolling the sushi, of rolling it. This is the most exciting and the most critical part also. Any color. Okay, you see, you wrap the first roll around this and then pick up. Now there are two options. One option is you can make it round. Another option is you can make it square. The square will make in the uramaki, but for this we'll make it round. Okay? So you have to pull it so that it tightens up. Not so much that all this stuffing comes out from the side. Okay, so we have one. Now, what you need to do is you need to make a similar one. Will you be able to make? I'll cut it later. First, let them make one more. Come. Try. Okay, this is all about learning, so you don't have to worry. Just make. You know what to do. Take your hand a little bit, take the rice from here, back up the rice. Each one of you can do one of the steps. You do the rice, you do the green chicken. You don't need to press it fully. Do the cheese now. Press it. Okay, now since they are here, we will now cut it. now will cut whatever you make. The moment of truth. Excellent. Very nice. Again, little ginger. Did you notice we did not put any wasabi in this? Okay, so there is no wasabi in there. All right, so a little bit of garnish here. Garnish here. And I somehow like using this, especially on the sushis. What sushi is this now? Kapamaki. So we have asparagus and cucumber, cream cheese, kapamaki. Restaurant name for this? What do the Americans call it? चीज हो गया फिलाडेल्फिया और रोल हो गया कैलिफोर्निया. Okay, now can I have all here? We'll do one sushi with you. Okay, so what you need to do is I will show you what to do and you will follow me. Okay, can you all recognize this fruit? Avocado. And you know, when I was your age, I did not know what a red capsicum looks like. You know what is this? Okay, it looks like this when it is peeled. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to cut the avocado first from all the four sides. What we do is we use another method, cut like this. So one of you will do this, okay, and the other people will start making the sushi. So you do this. I will show you how to do this. One of you put it on the side. Take a bowl. Take a bowl. Take this. Pick it up. Take a bowl. Make sure that you don't have any steam. Okay. Let's do the sushi. Okay, what roll is this now? The second one? Uramaki. So what is it? Rice inside or rice outside? Outside. Great. Take one more. side and slide down. This is very important. Thin layer of rice. Watch carefully, this is going to be completely opposite to what we did earlier. Very thin layer. Wait, both your hands. Like it. Don't press too much. Don't press it too much. Are you all watching what he's doing? Yes. Okay. What we do after this is very, very important. That is the difference between a kapamaki and an uramaki. Okay. Now wipe your hand. Now you have to completely dry your hand. In the first one, I'll show you. In the second one, you do it yourself. Alright, so we have rice and the nori now. What we do is we'll pick up and turn it over like this. Okay, so it is completely opposite of what we did earlier. And now what we are going to do is we are going to do two things. First one, okay, I'll use this one first. And what we have done is the boys have nicely cut the avocado. We will take the avocado and fill it in between. And we have some Japanese spicy mayonnaise. Japanese spicy mayonnaise. Not too much. Otherwise, the flavor of the tuna will get wasted. Okay, now what we do is, now the importance of the sushi mat. A little bit of water. Now here what we are going to do is we are going to make it into a square. Right. Anyway, if you have black sesame, you can also add a little bit of black sesame. Or you can add a little bit of togarashi. Complete, right? That's the one bite. Let's make another one. Yeah, you make. Rice. I think we have more sushi mats. You can also, one of you can start doing there also. Do one more there. We have enough rice. You can do one more. Take this tuna. Okay, so what we are going to do now is we're going to do a little bit of a change here. You saw I marinated the tuna with togarashi. Okay, we are going to use that tuna here. And we will also apply a little bit of wasabi. Very little. I told you you can't add too much of wasabi. Okay, can we have the avocado? be like that. The spoon should be with your hand. Tight, tight. It has to be tight. Otherwise, it's some गिरेगा. Yes. When that. Okay, make one more uramaki, please, with this. Uramaki, not. Yeah. Oh, you're making. Okay. Okay. Take this. Take the avocado. Take a little bit of wasabi. Very little wasabi. Here. Okay, give me the uramaki now. Uramaki. Just add. Want my help? Help me. Can you see the uramaki? Garnishing on the because it's white, it is easy to do some garnishing on it. So we take maybe some ginger. All right, this is your This is another one, similar, little different. Right. Okay, let's move on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now what we do, students, we go to the next dish. This is our main course. Our soup is done, our sushi is done, and we go to a main course, which is the fish. The fish that we had cut earlier, and we had marinated it. And along with that, we are going to give two items. One is the sonomono salad. If you remember, I had cut the cucumber and I had added salt into it. Now you can see how much of water is there, right? So what we'll do is we will squeeze it properly. Squeeze it properly.
Can I have the next batch of specialization students?
And if you remember, we had made a dressing for this salad earlier. I'll show it to you. It was some soy sauce, rice vinegar, soy sauce, sesame, and mirin. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to mix this into the salad now and leave it like this for another 15 minutes till the time the rest of our items are ready. Since we have added the acid into the salad now, we cannot use a metallic spoon to stir it. Alright, one more important ingredient. Like all Indians, Japanese also like potatoes, but they like their potatoes in various different. So today what we're going to do is we're going to do the this potato in a different item which is very popular in Bengal also. I'm sure what we do with the potatoes in Bengal very popular. Potatoes for duster. We go for duster. All right. All of you, please join them and do it exactly the way I did. Take this, take it in. All right, so we are going to now start making a sauce for the fish that we are going to cook. All right, so the sauce that we're going to do is going to be the teriyaki sauce. The teriyaki sauce is, please write down, 1 portion soy, 1 portion sake, 'It's okay. So I'm making the teriyaki. 100 ml of the soy, 100 ml, sake 100 ml. This is the Japanese rice wine basically. And 50 grams of sugar. All right, we switch it on. Make sure that the sugar melts well. If you are making a very large quantity, then you have to add some water also. No, that's it. If you do the potato, you may whatever you have done. Right. But it has to be a little darker than what we do in our weather. This rice will be better. All right. What we have now is on par, diluted corn flour. Okay, that we can do a little later also. Let's keep it on the side. Okay, let's do the fish. Give me a pan. Okay, whenever you are cooking fish, pan fried fish, it's very important that the fish is very dry. Like we dried the potatoes just now, we also have to dry the fish. The best way of cooking fish is with skin. If you have fish with skin, that is the best way of cooking fish. Remove the skin. 2, 3 of them. I need only 2, 3 cloves, not more. Yeah. So whenever you're cooking fish, it's very important that the pan is very hot in the beginning. Because otherwise what will happen is if you put it into a cold pan, it is going to break. Right? So make sure that the fish is the pan is hot and the fish is dry. So this is just basic cooking. We will be flavoring this with only garlic and butter. That's it. We have already marinated it with salt and lemon juice. It will be only garlic and butter that will be marinated with, nothing else. And we will serve it with teriyaki sauce. Okay, so once the pan starts smoking a little bit, I will put in the fish. In the meantime, our potatoes are getting ready. The first batch, because the oil was very hot, became a little dark. So we will not use them. The skin side down. Just basic chopping of garlic, not very fine. Otherwise, we could have made a paste. But we just need basic chopping of garlic. We need a lemon. So, whenever you are cooking fish on a pan with very little oil, don't disturb it. Start it with very hot oil. Let it be there for at least a minute. Okay, and then turn it over. Because if you do too much of a struggle with it, the fish will break. It's very tender, especially if it does not have a skin. Take it on a stick or take it out on a stand. Okay, so at this stage, what we need to do is we just have to cook it till the time it is a little tender. Okay, but we will not completely cook it because the Westerners don't eat, the Japanese don't eat fish the way we eat, deep fried. Okay, this is done. Now you can take it out and put one more lot. How do you check whether the fish, how much the fish is done? You will have to put a knife in. It is still far away. Take some more time. Yes. Slowly, slowly, don't put everything together. Another 1 minute and this is done. We will remove it and we will finish the sauce with ease, but not completely through because I don't want to cook it 100% as of now. Medium, yeah, more than medium. Because what's going to happen is there is going to be some heat inside, and that is going to continue cooking the fish. We don't want it to be very fibrous. वैसे ही तो है वो क्या है वही all right, can you see the fish? Yes, nicely delicately cooked. All right, so same pan, reduce the heat, add in butter. Add in some garlic, a little bit of lemon juice. Remember, you have got butter in the pan now, you can't put it on high temperature. Slip in the fish once again into the pan. So we'll infuse this flavor of the lemon and garlic into the fish. If I was cooking a continental style fish, I would have added some herbs into it. But we don't want, not parsley exactly, because parsley burns. You could have put thyme, rosemary, which stays in the oil for some time. Alright, so now it is the time that the fish has to cook properly. Okay, the salad that we made, the sunomono that we made, you can serve it in a bowl separately, or you can serve it besides the fish, besides the dish you are cooking. But you can generally serve it inside a bowl also. Can you see the glaze on the fish? It is very tender. It does not need to be like a bhaja mach, not a fried fish. Okay, it's a pan fried fish which they cook at very low temperature, and it is nicely cooked till inside. Okay, on the other side, if you remember, we did the teriyaki sauce. Let the fish become a little crisp. And in the meantime, we have corn flour, a slurry of corn flour which is ready. So it is just corn flour and water. And we are not going to add too much, just a few drops. Okay, so for all of your information, if there was a Japanese, he would just cook it a little bit, boil it because it already has sugar, it will caramelize a little bit, and he would use it as a sauce. But since in the Asian countries you need a slightly thick sauce, so you add a little bit of corn flour into it. And most of the Japanese restaurants in India add corn flour. But you don't have to cook it too much. Just add in corn flour and it's done. just a spoon coating consistency, where the sauce starts coating the spoon. You don't have to cook it too much. Just when it's done. Okay, we're done. Okay, first goes in the salad. You can also add a little bit of black sesame if you have. Rice wine, mirin, soya, and equal quantity. Only sugar is 50%. This is the main course, that's why the sugar is on the lower side. Otherwise, you see starters, sugar is the left on the right. Normally, when we put spring onions, we always put them into cold water first. But since this is a main course, do not put it into cold water. And maybe a little bit of this has a very Indian kind of a name. Muno Muno. If you want, you can also keep it on the side. And that is the main course. make it too thick, then it will stick like honey. So you have to, when you take it to the restaurant, like honey. So you can't make it thin. Thick as well. And since it's a very umami kind of sauce, you make it thick. You will be tasting it tomorrow morning in all your families. So it has to be right. You can give me one big platter itself. Just give me one big side with sauce. All of you to taste. All right. I think, and I'm sure that you picked up some pointers from what we did today over the last 2.5, 3 hours now. And it was primarily to make sure that we introduce you to a new cuisine and try to give you a few nuances of the cuisine, and basically to introduce you to new flavors. So thank you very much for being patient, because cooking is needs patience. So does watching, and I'm sure you will utilize whatever little information you got today, especially for these young students who took so much of interest out of their schools on a Saturday, that too in the afternoon. And thank you very much. And I'm sure you learned something, and I'm sure we'll be doing many more such things in future, and you will always be a part of it. And this, whatever little could be packed into 2.5, 3 hours. I tried to do it, and I wish to thank everyone. And I'm sure we were online, and there were lots of people watching us online also. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching this, a very long marathon workshop on Japanese cuisine, which we called Oishi. And thank you very much. And I'm sure you all enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. Thank you very much.